This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the Gulf of Mexico as their backdrop, broadcasting live from the Margaritaville Resort on Fort Myers Beach, here are the hosts of the dinkiest podcast in America, Kim and Ed Ryan.
That's a mighty big cheering crowd for a mighty small crowd there. So I'm not turning your microphone on. You're in charge of your own microphone.
They showed out today. So
And
we appreciate it because it is
the dog days of summer of here.
Yeah, it's mildly warm.
Yeah.
Mildly warm.
It's about 100 degrees with 100% humidity. And those of you that have come out here, are you guys staying at the resort in the back? Are you staying here? Oh, you came in your boat. Very nice. Yeah, it's a perfect day out there to be out in the water. I mean, I have a couple of boats myself, and I love to go out there.
Don't.
No, I don't have any boats
boat
at all.
You're getting is a rowboat.
Yeah,
that's what you're getting.
So we appreciate you guys coming out. It's great to be a little bit of a breeze.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not a bad day to come out. It's not 100% humidity at all. It's been worse, so
Yeah.
I feel like it's comfortable.
There's nothing to complain about when you're on Fort Myers Beach and you're not in the snow. I mean, there's just I mean, or Sanibel for that matter, and we'll talk about Sanibel in a minute. But we do want to say thank you to everybody in Wisconsin for making it such a wonderful trip out there. The hospitality with the Nussbaums was unbelievable. They have a lovely house, log cabin house on Loon Lake in Wisconsin, and the Fox River Brewing Company folks were unbelievable.
Jay and Heidi and John and
Doreen. And they created a beer for the Art Association. They created hats and they created shirts. And I
will say that beer, it was good. And I know it was good because I tried it. But also people came up to me who said, I don't even like beer, and I like this beer.
Yeah.
So
we couldn't bring any back. We had stuff that we had to ship because of your silly camping trip that we had to bring all your camping stuff back. So we couldn't bring any beer back. It would have been nice. If anyone is driving back from Wisconsin, I'm looking here like people are in Wisconsin, but if anybody's going to drive back from Wisconsin at any point over the next few months, they should stop by the Fox River Brewing Company, pick up the beer and bring it back because it'll just make more money for the Art Association.
If you want, I have 1 week available the rest of this summer that I could go up there and bring some back if you want to foot that bill.
So she's been on a camping trip. This week she went to Orlando. Next week she's going to Utah. If I had a complex, I'd be thinking she never wants to be around me.
You're learning how to take care of the dogs really
and now Cookie, our bulldog, she's got to get 3 different pills now because she's 100 years old and then she has seizures. And one of the pills, it has to be cut up into 4 little pieces.
It's tiny.
It's the silliest thing in the world. So, but the dog is doing very well. And
she's like back to her old self, although still deaf.
Yeah.
Every once in a while she can hear something, but
yeah. So, so thank you to everybody in Wisconsin. It's crazy what the relationship that Wisconsin and Michigan and Minnesota and Ohio have to Fort Myers Beach for people in the hundreds to come to our silly show on a Saturday is from 1:00 until 6:00. There were people at the brewery watching the show or hanging out. It's not really a show as much as it's a hangout with people that just want to be around other people that love Fort Myers Beach. And we're happy to make that happen.
Next summer, I want to get up. I want to get up to Michigan and I want to get up to Minnesota.
And next summer, we're going to get in an RV with the dogs and go together.
I am never getting in an RV with you for that long.
When we stop at the Deliverance place where you went to camp, you'll get out, set your tent up, and I'll take the RV with the dogs and go to the resort and hang out in the resort parking lot or the Walmart parking lot.
There are no resorts that I've seen and now at the falls there was a lodge there that was nice, but not what you're used to.
No bear attacks or anything that
I still haven't seen a doggone bear as much as I'm in bear country, but
Yeah.
But I'm ready for it. Black
Okay.
bears, you stand big and you fight.
She didn't bring
Grizzly
any.
bears, you lay down and pretend dead.
She didn't bring any weapons. She didn't bring any mace.
did
No
too.
guns. Nothing. You didn't bring anything.
I didn't bring that. I brought a knife and a air horn.
That's
like
what
you have on a boat.
That's what vegans do when they go on a camping
Vegans?
trip, and they're
I'm a
afraid to see a
vegetarian.
bear because they don't want to damage any. Like if a bear's coming at you, they talk to it friendly. Like that's gonna.
That's not true.
You know, okay, everything's cool. We're friends now. I'm a vegan, so I'm not. I don't want to eat you or kill you or anything. We're
stop.
friends. That's how the whole vegan thing works, I guess.
But a
right?
3-inch knife really isn't going to do me much good against.
You just have to run fast.
No, they
can
run
fast.
very fast and they can climb a tree way better than you.
All right, Ron is watching from Central Pennsylvania. You know, normally this is a nice crowd that we have here. I'm
Yes,
surprised.
we're
I didn't
so-
think.
I'm so
Thank you all
appreciative.
for coming out in the heat. We appreciate it.
Yes.
But most of the regulars are in their winter homes right now, in wherever they live in Wisconsin or Michigan,
they're summer homes.
or summer homes, winter homes, summer homes. I
You
am.
made it sound like they're hibernating up there.
There's sweat coming out of my pits right now, and I haven't moved one bit. That's how awesome it is right now.
There
I
are
mean,
some
can you see?
things that you really don't want to. Well, if you didn't have like a bear coat under there, I mean, do a little
stop it.
manscaping for God's sakes.
Please. How disgusting. This
care
is a
of
family
that.
show, for crying out loud. Ladies and gentlemen,
of
from the
that.
Fort Myers Beach Art Association,
This is great segue for you.
Sherry Fisher. So the way we raised money leading up to the show last week, and then last week was we sold hats and shirts that the folks at the Fox River Brewing Company had made up themselves. We sold a special beer, and then at the event we did thank you to Margaritaville, to Sandy Bottoms, to the Pink Shell, to the Diamond Head. We had these great prizes that we gave away during a contest where we did Wisconsin trivia and Fort Myers Beach trivia, and we gave away these great prizes, and we raised money from that 1 hour that we were there, or a few hours that we were there also. So the grand total from thank you guys for coming. Holy crap, we appreciate you're late, for crying out loud. The show starts at 11. What the hell's wrong with you two? Did you couldn't find a place to park or what? I mean, there's no traffic on the beach right now. You can't make it at 11 o'clock. Jeepers creepers. The total
They'll never come back again.
we appreciate you wearing the shirts too. The total amount that we raised for the Fort Myers Beach Art Association, which is trying to rebuild the building.
Drum roll, please.
They don't really know yet how they're going to rebuild it. Was $6,335 that we're going to hand over to Sherry.
Thank you very much. We are extremely grateful for everyone to come out. Everyone on Winnebago, keep heading back to Fox River Brewing Company. Get over there, buy the dumbassery beer and whatever else you can. Love all you guys back home in Wisconsin, and a shout out to Jackie and Chris.
Jackie and Chris, yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much to everyone.
So if you're in Wisconsin and you're anywhere near Oshkosh, they still have some of the gear. They still have the beer. Yep. He said they'd be selling the beer for a few more days, and the percentage of the beer and the hats and the shirts, we have some of the dumbassery. Even if you never wear it, it's a donation.
Right.
We have 40 shirts left here.
No hats.
We sold out the hats a couple of weeks ago. So we love the Fort Myers Beach Art Association, and we know you guys are kind of trying to figure out where you're going to be.
We're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And
it's difficult.
There's a possibility you might go to Santini Plaza, right? I mean, that is
there's a possibility.
Yeah.
It's really hard when you have everyone splitting up, trying to deal with their own problems on the island.
Yeah.
And trying to come back together to redevelop everything.
I don't think you know what it's like to be married to somebody that has so many problems.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh. So
he's right over there.
And then our governor, it cuts all this money to the arts. Was crazy that I saw that.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Was there any cuts to Fort Myers Beach, or
that
don't impacted you guys?
No, on that level yet.
All right. Well, we'll keep politics out of it. Did you watch the debate the other night? I mean, well, here's how the debate went up. I mean, that's how. I mean, that's all you needed to know. So.
We'll be talking all about that when everyone comes back in the fall.
Yeah. So now, where can people?
What kind of? I just want to ask.
Go right ahead. It's your show. Yes.
What's your favorite kind of art to do?
Well, I was very much into acrylics, but I lost everything, including all my art in the hurricane.
Oh,
Really?
So yeah, the art association was really nice. Julie and Star, everyone there has been amazing in helping me recover, and so now they're teaching me how to do watercolor. So I'm changing everything, moving forward, trying to do different things, and everyone at the art association is just amazing.
I'm a
They're
plein air
really-
painter myself. I love to do
right.
plein air
'Cause
painting.
I don't think I've
That's
seen
the
you
only
there.
thing he knows.
I'm working on
It's
it.
the
It's
only
taking me a
thing he
longer
knows.
while. Actually, when we were at the Fox River Brewing Company, they were the painters.
Somebody
It was
there.
raining, but the painters were out there
Yeah.
because the Fox River is so awesome and they have a
Yep.
great view of the
Yeah.
boats and the stuff. So they were trying to figure out how to get in the paintings while it was raining on
Do
that
you
Saturday.
even know the
Yeah.
difference between watercolors and acrylics?
Yeah, I obviously, dear. Why do you got to make me look silly? I
'Cause
mean,
it's-
I'll tell
it's
you later. I'll tell you
watercolors
after the
and
show.
acrylic. Right?
What? What
It's
is it?
watercolor and
Yeah.
acrylic.
I mean,
Yeah. We'll
watercolor.
invite you out to plein air
Yes.
paint.
I want to see what he can do.
I mean, the
Not
only
that I can do any better.
the
just
only
saying.
reason I know anything about plein air painting is because the company that I worked for, Radio Ink Magazine, before I quit that job 1 year ago, by the way, the publisher also is the publisher of Plein Air Magazine.
Oh wow.
Eric Rhodes, my boss. He's a
Okay.
great he's a great painter and he
and a
holds
good
these,
friend.
and a good friend. He holds these conferences and the Adirondacks. They go to Moab and they paint those red
Yeah.
mountains or whatever they're really called. Aren't they called red mountains?
red. It's red.
The red
rock.
Red
rocks,
clay,
things
yeah, the
like
red
that,
rocks.
yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, in a previous life, I was a painter.
Were
yeah,
you?
Yeah,
That's-
1 ear. I only had 1 ear. So I don't know if you
Okay.
ever heard of
I
me
don't
in my
wanna know
previous
what I
life.
was a year in the previous life.
So how can people, if people want to
The
donate?
one thing you know.
Yeah, who is that? Da Vincio?
You
No.
can go to our website. You can go to Facebook, Fort Myers Beach Art Association. You can donate there.
Sherry, how
You
are you
can
not
also
sweating? How are you
purchase-
not sweating? I mean, there's sweat coming everywhere.
We've
Right
Ma'am,
now.
established
I
that.
just wear it well.
I see.
Put my hair up.
And I appreciate you wearing the hat. You need a
And-
updated hat. That one's old. It's,
Isn't
No,
it?
that's
It
a
is.
good
It's
one.
one of your first.
yeah, very
And
nice.
the Art
yeah.
Association
more.
still has art for sale, right? They're when
Yes,
they're out
we
and
do.
about.
We do. So if they're out plein air painting, you can buy those paintings.
Yeah.
You can also go to our website and buy paintings there. That's one of the problems is that our painters have not had a place to display things.
Right.
So that's one
It's
of our
sucky.
primary things to work
The
on.
whole thing sucks. The whole thing was
Yep.
just sucky. So
Exactly
yeah.
sums it up.
well, we'll keep everybody up to date on what's going on with the Art Association, and we love you guys.
We
And
appreciate
any way we
this
can help.
very much. We're very grateful. Grateful for you
Awesome.
two too. And you know, we were here through the hurricane and everything. And
Did
you
you
two,
stay?
Yes.
What is?
So
You'll never
you-
stay again, will you?
No. Now I just got to talk him into leaving.
Well,
How
the-
much water did you get in your place?
15 feet.
Yikes!
Inside your house?
What
Yeah.
street are you guys
So
on?
what
We're-
did you do? Were you on the roof?
What street are you on?
We're on the corner of Sterling and Seminole.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
So
Wow.
it was major. We had to rescue a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people we couldn't rescue. So it
You
was
know,
a big
I-
deal.
It's amazing how it's coming up on 2 years. And I
It's hard to
posted
believe.
last night. I posted a picture of SOB. I don't know. Somebody asked me for
Yeah.
pictures, so I wound up going through all my pictures, and then I wound
Right.
up 2 years ago, and I saw, holy crap!
Right?
People
I
are
just
going to
did too. I'm
respond
like,
to this picture
wow.
when they see it. When it was up to it was basically up to the roof.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think that nature can shove that water from that far out all the way as high as
we're
it got.
so far, yeah.
Now,
I'm
why-
just glad it wasn't 30 feet like at Beach Baptist.
Right.
Ooh.
'cause
Now, why did
we'd
you
have been
guys?
gone?
No, are you guys okay? Like mentally?
Mentally, no, we'll never be okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Do you have flashbacks to that day where you were
Yeah.
like, "We should have left. We should have left."
You know, we're trying to think, you know, we saved a lot of people that
Okay.
would not have made it.
From other houses in the
Yeah.
area that
Mhm.
decided not
In
to
a
leave.
hotel that ended up in our backyard.
Which
with,
hotel was that?
Hideaway Village.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
which is not there anymore. Is
No,
it?
it was in our backyard.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, from
That's
3
crazy.
blocks away. And
So you
people
feel
were
like-
screaming from the attic.
So
for
you
help.
feel like
Yes,
you were meant to
that's
stay
where-
almost
Yeah,
to
yeah.
help people.
Yeah, we feel like maybe we were there for a reason.
Nice.
That's the only way
Yeah.
we can move
Get
forward.
through it. Yeah.
How's your
yeah.
rebuild coming?
We are back inside thanks to my husband Thomas, his brother Joel.
Yeah.
My brother and sister-in-law Jackie and Chris. I mean, I have amazing in-laws and family.
And
so-
how did you have to knock it down and rebuild, or were you able
It's a
to?
block home.
Okay.
So we
Oh,
took
okay.
it down. Well, everything was gone except for the blocks. So we
Okay.
were able to rebuild, and we're not up higher, which is still a concern.
Yeah, but you'll leave. Would you leave the next storm? Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. He's,
Yes, or
see,
his
he's in
sister will
agreement.
kill him.
I think. Well, I also think the town is more prepared to get you back on the island faster than last
Yeah.
time, because it was a mess last time, not knowing how to deal with all that.
We couldn't leave our block.
Yeah.
We didn't know. We thought the world had ended because
Yeah.
you couldn't get through the sand. You couldn't get past the homes on top of homes.
Wow.
We really didn't even know where we were anymore.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah, and
You
then even now it's hard to you'll go down Estero Boulevard and like, okay, what used to be there?
Yeah.
You almost like, okay, I don't
Right.
remember what was there because things
Right.
are changing so much.
And it took us 3 days to get someone there to take a person we were caring for off. And you
Right.
know, the first day they came down and just retrieved people with
Yes.
major injuries.
Right.
And then day 2 was just death.
Yeah.
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 And then day 3, they were able to actually get ambulances to the people that had severe injuries, but not like death.
Yeah,
Right,
when
right.
the fire chief came on back then, he said, "Listen, if the winds get to, I don't know if it was 40 miles an hour or
Yeah.
something, we
Right.
don't go out. So you got
Right.
to fend for
Right,
yourself."
Once you're there, you know you're there.
Right,
Right.
right, right.
And once there's 6 inches of water on the road, which, I mean, in 20 minutes, we went up 12 feet.
Did you think that the
Oof.
water was never going to go down? I mean, or
Yes,
but when it started to go down, did it go down quickly?
very quickly.
Yeah.
So
Which
it
is
came
crazy.
up fast and went down fast.
Honestly, I don't remember.
I
I
don't
don't
blame
remember
you.
much. After
I-
that, the next 6 months is kind of
A blur.
blurry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's nice to hear
So-
you guys are back in your house, and
we are, and we have good neighbors and good.
yeah.
It's a good island.
Is
Yeah.
a story. There's a story at every house on every
Yep.
street on this
Yep.
beach.
Exactly.
You see the rebuilding and you see the reconstruction and all that. Aside from the developments, the big developments that everybody's talking about, on every street, you see the houses going up or being lifted or
Yep.
being knocked
Yeah.
down or being left
Yes.
alone and not
Yes.
being cared for. But there's a story at
We're
every house
moving
on every
forward.
street,
Slowly,
right.
but we're
Yeah.
moving forward.
like a
And
turtle.
that's our goal.
Yeah.
Just I'm not looking back anymore.
Well, we look forward to
So-
cutting the ribbon with you guys at the
Yeah.
new Art Association
Well,
building. So
We
thank
do
you,
too.
Sherry.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you
Big
so
hand for
much.
Sherry Fisher, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. I didn't know.
Are you going to read an ad?
No, I am
Okay.
not. We're going to introduce James Evans from the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation. Come on down. Did I say that right, James?
Yes, you
You
did.
were looking at me
I'm
like I was
impressed.
strange.
I was a little worried there, but
James,
after
it's
all
been
these years,
it's been way too long since you were on the show.
Yeah.
My feelings are hurt that it's been. I know you're busy though. First of all, tell everybody about SCCF.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. Thanks, Kim, for having me on your show today. Yeah, I apologize. It's been a while since I've been here. We've had a few things going on. As you just heard, the recovery from Hurricane Ian has been challenging at the least. Yeah, so I'm James Evans. I'm the CEO of the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation. And our organization is a science-based nonprofit on Sanibel Island. And our mission is to protect and care for Southwest Florida's coastal ecosystems. And we do that through our work on water quality and habitat research, through our marine lab. We also do a lot of work on sea turtle and shorebird monitoring and research. We also have the Sanibel Sea School, which is our educational arm of the organization that educates our youth, trying to improve the ocean's future one person at a time. And we also have our advocacy and policy and advocacy program, who are out there doing great work on Everglades restoration, trying to improve the quality of our waters along the coast as well as in the Caloosahatchee. So got a lot going on. There's always opportunities for you to come out and volunteer through our Coastal Watch program. And we're a great organization. We have a lot of wonderful partners, which I hope we'll be able to talk about here in a minute.
and land management and land.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Kim. We own and manage about 2,100 acres of land.
Oh yeah, I got to say there.
I'm sure you're going to hear that bell a lot.
I hope so.
Right, exactly. But 2,100 acres of land, 1,600 acres on Sanibel. We own several islands in Pine Island Sound, and we're continually looking for additional lands to bring in to protect for wildlife and wildlife habitat.
Now, speaking of land, didn't Ding Darling just bought some more land yesterday or this past week, right? How many acres did they buy?
They did. I can't remember the exact number of acres. I think it was somewhere around 12 or 14 acres.
Where did they find 12 to 14 more acres down there?
So
For
it was
sale.
it's a single family home located along the bay side, and it had 2 little cottages on it that they're going to be able to use for their intern housing. And the Ding Darling Wildlife Society, Ding Darling Society in general, they are wonderful conservation partners with SCCF, as well as the city of Sanibel. We also have Crow and the Shell Museum and others. Where, all of us are working together, rowing in the same direction to try and protect that habitat for wildlife.
Okay, so you guys have started something brand new called Preserving Paradise. Let's start with that. What is Preserving Paradise?
Yeah, so Preserving Paradise is a program that was put together by the Sanibel Captiva Chamber of Commerce. John Lai was the lead on the chamber side, as well as the Captains for Clean Water, Daniel Andrews, the Everglades Foundation, Eric Eichenberg, and SCCF, with me being the lead for SCCF. And the goal of that program is to bring in some key business leaders to put them through a leadership course to learn about water quality and the economic impacts of our water quality, and the work that we do in all of our various organizations, and how they can be advocates for our water quality and our natural resources, so that we can have a sustainable economy moving into the future. So that when we need to call them to go to Tallahassee and make calls to our policymakers and take, so those policymakers can take some action on water quality, they'll be there to support us.
Can you talk a little bit? You gave me this, which is, it really hits home on the impact that algal blooms have, to Southwest Florida, not just here, but Lee County, Charlotte County. I mean, those are some big numbers.
Yeah. So this past year, we completed an economic study. We hired a firm named Green Economics. They're out of the West Coast in Washington State. And through a partnership with the Captains for Clean Water and the Conservancy of Southwest Florida, we hired this group to come down here and assess the economic impacts of water quality, looking at, okay, what happens if we have another red tide bloom like we had in 2018? How many of y'all remember that red tide bloom in 2018 and the impact it had, not only on our economy, but our quality of life, the ecology of our coastal waters, and it's continuing to have impacts. God forbid we have another event like that after Hurricane Ian, we'll really be in trouble. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to quantify those economic impacts to our local economy in Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties, so that our policymakers, who tend to really listen to the economics over some of the other things like our environment and our quality of life. And so when we completed this study, we found that the lost property revenue in Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties for another event like we saw in 2018 could add up to $60.3 million. We could lose as many as 43,094 jobs. Lost local economic output for those same counties is $5.2 billion.
With a B.
With a B. Lost property values, $17.8 billion. And lost outdoor recreation. That includes our boating industry and all of our fishing and other things that are supported by the great environment we have here in Southwest Florida. $8.1 billion. That's a big impact.
All from red tide.
All from harmful algal blooms and declines in water quality.
So could be red tide, blue green. Now, and remind, red tide is
all
a
caused by
naturally,
big sugar.
No. Red tide is
right.
Red
That's what everybody
tide
thinks,
is a naturally,
right?
Well, let's talk
Wait, do you
about
work
that
for
a
Big
little
Sugar?
bit. Red tide is a naturally occurring event.
Yeah, that's a great question. So red tide.
Oh, 2 for 2.
Hey, red tide is a natural occurring organism. It's called Carenia brevis. It's a type of phytoplankton, like algae. It blooms when it has nutrients, and it is naturally occurring. It's been here since before the Spanish arrived in Florida, and it's going to be here afterwards. The key thing to understand is that because it is an algae, and Carenia brevis is not a picky eater, and it will consume whatever nutrients are available in the water so that it can sustain a bloom or enhance a bloom. And so what the research that we found through the work we do at the Marine Lab, at the Tarpon Bay Marine Lab at SCCF, as well as our partners at the University of Florida, is that through some really complex modeling, we've been able to determine that the runoff from the watershed and the runoff that comes from Lake Okeechobee when the Army Corps of Engineers is making these releases have a direct impact on red tide and can exacerbate those blooms when those blooms are occurring. So what we do on the landscape and what we're doing as far as water management decisions directly impact the intensity and duration of those blooms. So we can make it less and we can have less of an impact on our economy and our environment if we try to, get rid of those nutrients that are being discharged.
So let me just ask real quick. Now, a blue-green algal bloom, is that naturally occurring?
Yes, blue-green algae, it's a cyanobacteria. It's typically a freshwater organism, although there are some marine cyanobacterias as well. They are naturally occurring, but again, it's when we add nutrients, it's that rocket fuel you add that makes these blooms take off, and that creates that imbalance in the natural system, and that is what's causing the problem. It's not the existence of those species like Carenia brevis, which is a marine organism. It's always there in background concentrations. It's that when you supercharge it with the nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, where it becomes a problem.
So what you're saying is when they release the water from Lake Okeechobee, it's igniting the red tide and killing business on Fort Myers Beach. I mean, let's just get right down to the crux of it, right? That's what's happening.
Yeah. So if we have an existing bloom going on, so right now we don't have any red tide out there, and so we just saw a lot of discharge coming out of the Clusatchee watershed, which exceeded, over 5,000 cubic feet per second. That's a lot. Typically, we want to keep it somewhere between 750 and 2,000 cubic feet per second.
Wow.
So we had over 2.5 times that optimal flow level. So the nutrients were there. The key thing to understand is that the red tide wasn't. So as long as the red tide isn't there to begin with,
right,
when the nutrients come out of the watershed or Lake Okeechobee, we don't have to worry about that bloom being exacerbated. But if that bloom occurs and you send those nutrients to it, they're going to grow, it's going to bloom, and it's going to have a direct impact on us.
Would you consider yourself a water guy? You're a water guy.
I would consider myself a water
guy. So how
guy.
far can you swim without stopping?
Well, when I was doing triathlons, I was swimming at least 2.5 miles.
Lord! Now, how long would that take you?
Well, I don't know. I can't remember the time.
So when you're a water guy, you're doing a triathlon. Are you constantly looking down in the water and saying, this water's shit, this water's good? I mean, you constantly analyzing the water you're swimming in?
Not necessarily, but we have really good instruments at the Marine Lab that do that for us.
He's very good at pulling it back around.
Yes. So when you did triathlons, what was your fastest bike?
So let's see. I was doing half Ironman, so it was a 56 mile bike.
Okay, now you're throwing around the big shit, right? So 56 miles.
He's just trying to give you some context.
56. How long did it take you to bike 56 miles?
56 miles. You know what? I don't want to break it down by the event, but I think I finished everything, somewhere around, I think it was around 6 hours. So, I mean, it's a long event.
Wow. Yeah. And so did you medal in your age?
I didn't.
Yeah. Have you ever done a Spartan race?
I have not.
All right.
No.
Well,
can we just
stick to the water?
Make it back about you?
Yeah. How many push-ups can you do in 1 minute?
Here we go.
Well, when I was in the Army, I used to be able to do a lot.
How many people did you kill?
Let's get back to water.
How long were you in the Army?
Active duty just under about 3 years, and then I was.
Why do you keep failing with your papers there?
You're making him nervous now. So
8.5 years.
8.5 years if you include my National Guard service.
Did you go overseas anywhere?
I did. I was in Germany, Schweinfurt, Germany.
Okay.
Nice.
So you didn't see any fighting in Germany, right?
I didn't. I went in 92 and got out of active duty in 95, and I was discharged right before 9/11, and I just happened to be in during a time of peace. So I feel sorry for all those folks that, I have a lot of honor for all of those folks overseas that have been fighting for our, for our liberties. So
do you think that?
Can I just,
not yet. Do you think, thank you. Oh, they're cheering for you, not me. I think
they're cheering for our troops overseas that are fighting for our liberty, right?
Yeah. Do you think that the younger generation is made up of enough, do we have toughness enough to right now, or I mean, what is your feeling about the younger generation in terms of protecting the country and protecting democracy?
I'm raising my son to be tough and to be able to look out and protect our democracy. And I hope all of the other parents that are out there listening are doing the same thing, because it really starts with us.
When you say you're raising your son to be tough, I used to duct tape my daughter to the chair to make sure she eats the right things. Is that what you do too, or is that against the law in some way?
I mean,
I'm kidding.
I don't want to report on capital punishment here on your radio show, but no.
No, but I mean, we need to be tougher. I think we need to be tougher. Don't you think we need to be tougher?
Hey, we need to be tough. I mean, our military is what makes us strong and makes us, the number one nation in the world.
I'll drink to that. Yeah.
Drink to that.
God bless America.
So
do you think we're doing the right thing in Ukraine, or we supporting
no
you?
one wants
All right,
to
forget
hear
about
this.
They do. They do.
For God's sakes, no.
He's a great American hero. In addition to a water,
you always want to
expert.
make it about you, and no one.
I've never been in the Army. How is it about me?
So, talking about water, talking about releases, we're gonna get a new schedule for Lake Okeechobee. It's been a little bit delayed, but it is going to be better than the current situation we have. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're getting ready to transition Lake Okeechobee schedule. So currently we have the Lake Okeechobee regulation schedule that was adopted in 2008. And we refer to that as the hold and dump lake schedule. So what it would do is it would hold water in the lake until it got to a certain point, and then that water would be dumped to the west coast in the Caloosahatchee and the east coast in the St. Lucie, while protecting water supply interests to the full extent possible. And when I say water supply interest, I'm primarily talking about the sugar interests, which are south of the lake. And so that water would be held, dumped to the Caloosahatchee and the St. Lucie. And of course, it would spur those blue-green algae blooms and the red tide blooms and all of the other harmful things that come with those high-volume discharges from the lake. So the new schedule is the Lake Okeechobee System Operating Manual. And the new schedule is much more equitable, so it's going to balance the interests of the coastal communities, as well as getting more water to the Everglades where it's desperately needed. We're going to send about 3 times more water to the Everglades instead of sending that water to the coasts. And that's going to help Florida Bay. Florida Bay needs water to balance salinity. We do need water during the dry season to balance salinity, so we'll have that water when we need it. But this really provides the Army Corps of Engineers a lot of flexibility so that they can hold that water in the lake when they have to. So we don't get those high discharges when we don't want it during the rainy season, but then they can send it to the Caloosahatchee when we need it during the dry season to balance the salinity. So we think it's a much better schedule. It's not a silver bullet. The silver bullet is actually the Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan, which is a suite of 68 projects that will help us store, treat, and send that water south. That's really the key to restoring those freshwater flows and protecting our local economy.
And the crown jewel of that is going to be the Everglades Agricultural the EAA reservoir, right? Which is like big.
Oh, this is when she wants to make it seem like she's the smartest person in the room with the abbreviations.
No, I just am smarter than you.
Okay, you're not setting the bar very high right there, dear.
Oh, I know.
No, and by the way, Governor DeSantis has been, don't you agree? Disagree if I'm wrong. He's really been good on trying to fix the water problems, spending a lot of money. I mean, this state is flush with money.
Yeah, we've been receiving record funding through this administration to support Everglades restoration, and the governor and the cabinet and the DEP and all of the other departments have really been working hard to send that money to the Everglades to get those projects done. Yeah. Of course, the state is a 50-50 partner with the federal government, and we've been seeing large amounts of money to match the state funds coming through the federal government too. So honestly, they've been working hand in hand. Everglades is a high priority for the state of Florida, and it's a national treasure, so we need to get it funded.
What about Adam Botana? He's running on a platform of dirty water. Do you think that he needs to be replaced?
I know that's not true. I know Representative Botana has been a champion for Everglades restoration as well, and he's been a great partner working with all of our groups to advocate for Everglades restoration. He's been there to get that funding needed, and he's also been a big advocate for the Caloosahatchee and our coastal waters. So
I ran into Eve from Turtle Time this morning out on the beach, and she said there's 80 nests already, which is almost as good as it was in 2022, like right after the storm. Why are we seeing, I don't even know if it's an uptick.
How is Sanibel numbers doing?
Yeah, so last year we had a record year, so it's hard to compare a typical year to a record year. But just to run down some of the nests, one remarkable thing was that the first nest we had this year on Sanibel
Was it green?
was a leatherback.
Oh my
The
gosh! I
largest
used to
sea
have
turtle.
a leatherback as a pet back when I was a young kid, and I loved the leatherback turtles.
Yeah. Did it grow to the size of a Volkswagen Bug?
Yeah,
you
no
know, did you
kidding.
know that
He
turtles
used to
can?
ride it.
Did you know that turtles can swim 100 miles an hour when they
here
get
we
down
go.
to the Keys?
I think you brought this up the last time we were.
I think you
we
told
were-
me that, James.
Yeah, I
You're the
don't
one
think
that
so.
told me
I
that.
don't think so. You brought that up and I couldn't verify. So,
Oh,
So go ahead
Don't
with the
disappoint
numbers.
me.
but overall, our nests are doing pretty well. We've had, we're kind of in the peak of nesting right now. At the east end of Sanibel, we had 101 nests as of last week. West end, we had 278 nests. Captiva, we've had 117 for a total of 496. But when you compare that to 2023 at the same time, we had 759 nests. So we're, about half of where we were last year.
wow.
But still really good numbers. And, the false crawls this past week bumped up big time. But still,
What do you think the false crawls are
let me
about?
ask, is it true that it's every other year? Like that they come back? Is it a 2-year cycle that the turtles?
I think the science, we still don't know.
Okay.
I think there's still a question about as to, what's affecting those. But there's environmental things that impact whether or not sea turtles are going to come back and nest. So, we're trying to monitor that through our coastal wildlife program. They're out doing work on sea turtles and red tide, taking blood samples, looking at how, the sea turtles that are impacted by red tide are passing that on to their offspring and whether or not they have a competitive disadvantage or an advantage. So there's a lot of work to be done and our scientists are out there doing it.
And let's say there's 10,000 babies that are laid all across Sanibel and
That
Fort
hatch?
Myers
Yeah.
Beach that hatch. How many are going to survive?
So 1 in 1,000 is the number. So
1 in 1,000.
1 in 1,000 makes it
Gosh.
to maturity. Yeah. So
That's
it's
crazy.
it's really tough. And that's why it's so important that all of us,
Right.
are very smart when we're out on the beach. We're not using, white lights. We're not, we make sure that the lights coming from our homes and our condos and our resorts aren't impacting the beaches and disorientating. That's not even a word, but
It is now. You just made it up, man.
disorienting our hatchlings as they're going out into the Gulf or deterring or potentially adding to the false growls of
Is
the
it
females that wanna
mostly-
nest.
And fill in your holes
Yeah.
because they're little.
Yeah.
And you fall in a hole, they can't get out. So
I fall in a hole I can't get out, but that's
Well-
and I'm not little.
we're hoping you're not reproducing either at this point. So
When you folks laugh at her, it just encourages her to insult me more. And I appreciate if just one person was on my side, just one. So how many of them are eaten as bait by other fish? Like what is the majority of the reason that they don't?
predation. That's a word you
please.
should know.
You're okay. Everybody knows you're smart, dear. All right.
Just gotta
Everybody
throw it out
knows.
there. Go ahead.
James.
Yeah, so there's a number of things that can take out sea turtle hatchling. Anything from ghost crabs to fire ants to raccoons.
Wait, how does a fire ant take
Oh
out?
yeah, fire ants can go in and get into the nest cavity
And
and
kill
take
them
out
all.
the nest. Yeah,
Oh,
take
wow.
out a nest.
So Eve was saying this morning that because the beach renourishment is starting on the north
north end.
end, that when they lay a nest, when they drop a nest, what's the right phraseology? When they lay a nest, drop a
When they
nest, lay a nest, she has to go in and take it out. You have 24 hours apparently to take the nest out and move it. So
Right.
they have to move it to another part of the beach right now because of the beach renourishment. It's also complicated, James. The beach and the water, it just gets crazy. How do you keep it all straight?
It is crazy. Well, you hire really good people to do a good job for you, and that's what we have at SCCF. So, as it relates to the renourishment, so renourishment, obviously will have a direct impact on the sea turtles as they're laying sand down. And so what happens is people like Turtle Time and SCCF's, our volunteers and our scientists, they go in there, they excavate the nest because they're going to be laying sand down. They relocate those eggs to another nest cavity so that they can try to ensure that
When you say
is
nest cavity,
successful. Yeah.
you say it like people know what that
Sorry.
means.
So they'll dig a hole at the right depth, similar to the way the female laid the nest in the first place. She digs a nest, she lays the eggs, and then she covers it up.
I see.
We do the same thing. We go out there, we excavate a hole, we take the eggs, we relocate them within a certain period of time, cover them back up, making sure that the conditions are right. and then hope for the best that they aren't depredated by coyotes, which coyotes are
Yeah, somebody was just saying
Yeah.
the coyotes
huge
are
predator.
bad.
Coyotes take out the majority of our nests on Sanibel, almost 40%, I think, last year.
Really?
Huge.
Are you allowed to shoot the coyotes?
And so we're looking at
No.
ways that we
No?
can, try to mitigate the impacts on the sea turtles. It's a big deal. You mentioned fish. Yes, snook and other game fish will eat the hatchlings as they're making it into the water. So they have a really tough time, and it's just important that we as humans do everything we can to help them. But the conservation efforts has been very successful. If you look at the number of nests we're seeing every year in the recovery of our loggerheads and greens and leatherbacks, it's tremendous, and that's because of all of you. You've all participated in
But
that.
James,
Let me
conservation
just
effort.
Oh my God,
God,
you're
well,
totally
you-
monopolizing this
you
show
just
today.
had like
Totally.
4 questions in there. Now, if it's warm, like it's warm now, that's gonna affect the females versus the males, right? And that been going on and on. So there's going to be more females.
Yeah, so the limerick is hot chicks, cool dudes. So if you have hot temperatures in the nest, you're more than likely going to have females. And if you have cooler temperatures, which is affected by groundwater and other variables, you'll likely have males. So if you have all females, you can imagine your reproductive success in future years isn't going to be great. So that is affected by a changing climate as well.
So this
Can
might.
you put ice? I mean, is there anything that can be done to help with that? Like to cool the nest down? Like
we're
is
not
there
looking
any
at putting ice on
technology?
nests. But, the groundwater does have an effect. So depending on the elevation of the nest, that does have a direct impact on the
Please.
on the success and the sex ratios of those nests.
Well, this turned into something
Yeah,
weird with
you didn't think we'd get into
turtle
sex, did you?
I didn't think. Well, I didn't think we'd get into turtle sex. So, this might sound like a dumb question, but she asked
Here
me
it
to ask,
comes, folks.
she asked me to ask it last night because she didn't want to make it sound like it was coming from her. So the turtles, the hatchlings, the little tiny things, they get laid, the eggs get laid, they break out of the eggs, and then they try and dart back to the water. Why not start an experiment where you take them up out of the nest and put them in the water so they don't get killed before they get in the water? I mean, that might sound silly, but maybe you can save more than 1 in 1,000 if you just tried that.
How are they going to know when they're roiling up there?
You have somebody napping right next to
For the love of
I mean,
God.
they know when they're gonna. I mean,
Yeah,
he's an expert.
so I'll tell you some of the things that we are doing to mitigate the depredation from
Thank
coyotes and other things. We are caging the nests so that we have a mesh size that allows the hatchlings to go through the cage, but doesn't allow those coyotes to dig down into the nest cavity and pretty much wipe out an entire.
Okay, so
nest.
what purpose does a coyote serve in the wild of life?
Yeah, so in the absence of the red wolves, they're an apex predator. So they are keeping some of those things in check, like our rabbits and other small mammals. So
so the coyotes are killing rabbits.
they are killing rabbits. They're killing a lot of small
Don't
mammals.
we
and
like?
other
Don't we
things.
like the rabbits more than we like
Not
the
too
coyotes,
many.
James?
Well, we want the ecology to be balanced.
But we want the
whole
turtles to
food
live.
chain thing.
Don't we want the turtles to live? I mean, it just seems like you're giving
Yeah.
too
All right.
much preference to the coyotes.
Now you
James.
want to play God and pick winners and losers.
Yes, yes.
Well, you're making us turn the lights off. If we're playing winners and losers, the lights would be on and they'd be bright white and nobody would give a shit, right? But they do. So, I
And we
mean,
appreciate it.
yeah.
Well, what else is going on at SCCF? What else do you want to
Tell
talk
us
about
about
today?
Cap.
Because you've spent way
Tell
too
us
much.
about what's going on with South Seas.
Yeah.
Do your brief on that.
Right. So in addition to all of the water quality issues and all the great science and education that we're doing, we're also doing a lot on the policy front and primarily having to deal with some of these harmful land use issues that are coming down the pike here in Lee County. And one of those is the South Seas Island Resort. Timbers Group owns that resort along with a number of investment partners. They're working to rebuild the resort. We want that resort to come back and we want that business to be successful. However, we don't want that to be at the expense of all of the citizens and businesses that exist on Sanibel and Captiva today. And what has been authorized by the county commission is to essentially eliminate the density cap on hotels at South Seas Island Resort at the expense of all the other businesses on Sanibel and Captiva. So that means that South Seas can come in with a proposal to essentially do whatever they want, although their proposal is only to increase the density by 3 times what it exists today. So, and I say only a bit facetiously, we're going from 247 hotel units in the proposal to 707, where according to an agreement that was adopted in the early 2000s, and signed by the county commissioners and the Captiva Civic Association, all of those units, including all the timeshares, were capped out at 912 units. This would put them well beyond the agreement that is in place and binding today. So we had to move forward with a lawsuit to challenge that harmful impact.
So James, when Kevin Ruane is against that, we know that he's a no vote. He's your only no vote on changing that. When you sit down with the other county reps and you try to explain to them that this is crazy, what is their answer to you?
You know, I think the way they look at it is that that's good for the tax base of Lee County, so that more hotels, more people means more money coming into the county. So I think that, you know, it's easy for them to justify because they look at it as economic resiliency is what we've heard. Not resiliency when it comes to making sure that we're here after the next storm, but the economic resiliency of bringing back and sending, you know, money to the businesses that are here. And again, we want all of our businesses to be successful, but it has to be sustainable and it has to be done in a way that doesn't harm the citizens, our quality of life, and the existing businesses that are here today that have been here for decades. So I think that's the justification primarily. And they've argued that this is the land use changes were county initiated. When we went back and looked through the public records, going back, well before the storm, some of the commissioners have met with them as many as 25 times. So we know in the lobby logs that this has been going on for a long time. We don't believe it was county initiated. We believe firmly that it was developer initiated, and that it should be done in a way that's equitable and fair to all of the businesses and people on the islands. And that's why we're challenging the court of law, because we feel the law is on our side, and so do the 13,000 people that signed a petition and the hundreds of people that have donated to the legal fund.
How much you have raised? Real quick, how much you have raised?
Over 600,000 at this point.
Now, in addition to, you know, some people may say, it's a little bit more, there's a lot more density, whatever. But you brought up the other point of like the workers, like what are the other things that people might not realize is going to happen with that much density increase?
Right. So when you look at the number of units, you also have to consider that these could be, 2, 3, 4 bedroom units. So, multiply that 707 by 2, 3, 4, whatever it might be. In addition to that, South Seas is estimating that it's going to take 1,000 workers to be able to support that resort. They eliminated all of their workforce housing. So now these workers every day coming and going have to go back and forth to the resort, in addition to all of these people that are coming for, multi-day weekly rentals. So imagine the amount of traffic that will be generated when we have one road in and one road out that has to all go over the Sanibel Causeway. If we have to evacuate for the next hurricane, imagine what that's going to do to our emergency services and our ability to evacuate from the island if we have another storm. So we just think it's a bad idea, and they need to do a better job of evaluating those impacts in whole.
And for people that don't know, Sanibel obviously is its own government, but Captiva, which is at the end of Sanibel, is part of Lee County. They don't really have their own government. They have an association, kind of like an HOA or something, but they're still part of Lee County. Lee County makes all the decisions when it comes to Captiva, correct?
I'm hesitant to say correct, but correct. Go ahead and ding it.
No. I thought you were saying that because I was wrong. But
no, you're right. So
okay.
You're absolutely correct. So Sanibel is its own incorporated city, incorporated in 1974, and Captiva is part of unincorporated Lee County.
Yeah.
So decisions that are made on Captiva are made by unincorporated Lee County, the Lee County commissioners. Although there is a Captiva community panel, which is a quasi-governmental body that is responsible for putting together laws and going back and forth with the commissioners to amend the comprehensive. But
at the end of the day,
plan.
Lee County makes the call.
Lee County makes the call.
So why can't South Seas build back the way it was with the same number of units? Why can't they just build back to the way it was with the same density? I mean, everybody on Fort Myers Beach, we talk about density all the time, but it's different on Fort Myers Beach, I think, because there's some places aren't coming back. So you got to take that density out. Maybe you give it to Myerside, it's a whole different thing. And like you said before the show, you can get off the south end. You can get off the other end on Sanibel. You're one way on, one way off. You got to turn around and come back. Although soon there's going to be a toll on both bridges where you get on and off, but that's a different story. So why don't they just build back to the way it was?
Okay.
So they could build back to the way it was. But unfortunately, I think their business model and the amount of money they're investing into the resort, they want a bigger return on investment. So therefore, they're trying to get more hotel units to be able to support that business model. So again, I think it all boils down to, to the money and being able to generate more money for their business model. And yes, they could rebuild. We fully support rebuilding. In fact, today, if they went in and applied for just the 912 units they have today, based on environmental laws and things that have changed since, since that original plan was put in the 70s, they wouldn't even be able to build back what they have today. So we fully support being able to build back what they have today and what they had prior to the storm, but not moving forward and tripling the density.
It gets quite confusing to watch some of those meetings with South Seas, and all the employees get up there and they say they're in favor, and then it really, unless you dig deep into that rabbit hole to try and understand exactly what's going on out there, it's hard for me to dumb it down to the dumbest person on the planet. I mean, to understand all that stuff. I mean, it gets complicated.
It is very complicated. But you can, we'll be happy to share all the public records with you. They are public records.
We're going to ask for those.
Yeah. And you can see the conversations that were happening between, various people within the government and the developers of South Seas, and you can see what's going on. We certainly don't want to, act like we're the, we're the only ones you should believe. I think you should read it for your own, for yourselves.
Full transparency. Put it out there.
Full transparency.
And I want to ask, I know we got to let you go at some point. I think for the folks that are sitting here and the folks that are on there is to talk a little bit about how important their voices are on any of these issues.
Get involved.
Absolutely. All of your voices are absolutely critical. Our legislature tends to, listen to the economics, and that's why we put together some really important economic studies to be able to make a case for that. But they also understand when individuals all of you are voters, they listen to you. And I encourage you anytime that there's a call to action, whether it's through our organization, Captains for Clean Water, Everglades Foundation, Conservancy, I could list 100 different organizations. Participate. Make sure that you're writing personalized letters to your legislators, whether it's Adam Botana or our county commission or Governor DeSantis or our other legislators. Let them know what you think and how it impacts you directly, how it impacts your business directly. And that's why we're doing this Preserving Paradise program, so that we can bring some really important business owners here in Southwest Florida into the fold, so they understand what's going on and they can be advocates for not only our organizations, but you as taxpayers and people that live here in Southwest Florida, so that it's not just the industries that are polluting that have a say and have connection to our legislators and our governor and others. You also do as well. So I think that's the key, and can't thank you all enough for your support, and really appreciate it.
So James, don't clap yet. I got one last question. I turned your mic off.
I want him to be able to mention the thing coming up on July 10th.
What?
The Blue is Green.
Sure. So the Blue is Green is a program that's being sponsored by the Sanibel Captiva Chamber of Commerce, as well as in partnership with the Fort Myers Beach Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
It's going to be at the Pink Shell on July 10th. And we're going to have a panel discussion, which I will be one of the participants, but we have participants from Captains for Clean Water, as well as the Conservancy of Southwest Florida, and other groups that will be there to talk about the economic study that we recently published. And we'll be able to have a Q&A, so you'll be able to ask questions of the panel and learn more about the work that we're doing and the economic impacts that water quality has on our local economy.
And we'll be at that meeting. We look forward to covering that.
Oh, good. I'll be able to hear it out in Utah.
Now, do you believe in reincarnation?
Oh, for
James,
the love of God, you were so close to getting.
I'm going to pass on that.
Do you believe if you did
I'm not
believe
getting into religion on this?
No, it's not religion. No.
Maybe politics.
Just say yes. Say yes. If you came back, what kind of turtle would you come back as?
How about just ask him what his favorite turtle is?
No, if you came back,
I don't know if I'd come back as a turtle.
What would you come back as?
You know what? I'm not sure what I'm pretty happy being a human.
Well, you can't.
Come back
okay. What? It's no, dear. We ask the guest
as?
questions. We don't ask each other
questions.
Back
as a snail.
I come back as an Army Ranger. For sure. I go want to kill people.
Yeah, that's still a human, right?
Yeah, right.
You come back as a snail.
So what's your favorite turtle? That's what I was trying to get at, James.
You
Come on,
know,
man.
I like the greens. I mean, I like them all. I mean, it's hard to pick one, but Hawks Bills are really cool.
What about
What
those
is-
little Kemp's Ridleys?
Kemp's Ridleys.
What
are
is your
really
least
cool.
favorite turtle? If you could flick
None
a
of
turtle
them.
out of the way, which would it be?
I would say the invasive exotic ones that
Yeah,
come here
yeah.
and displace our native habitat.
Did you ever think that?
What ones are those?
You know, we have there's a lot of exotics here in Southwest Florida that are invading our ecosystem.
Last weekend I went down to the Everglades and started to hunt the Burmese snakes,
Yeah.
pythons. Would you like to do that someday with us?
I would, absolutely. You know, we don't have any, just back to your question, we don't have any exotic sea turtles, but we have a lot of other exotic herps, which are the reptiles and amphibians, which are really causing a problem here in Southwest Florida. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to go and help with the cause and take
How
out
do
a
they get
python.
here?
Pet trade, unfortunately, just the same way that a lot of our invasive fishes have been released into our waters, you know, through the aquarium trade, but the pet trade, people buy them, you know, they can't, keep them anymore. They release them into the environment.
Came from China. Everything negative comes from China. Don't you agree, James?
Stop.
James Evans, everybody
Thank you
from
so
SCCF.
much.
Thanks for
Thank
putting
you
up with
all.
us, man. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, don't be a stranger like that every 2 years. It can't be every 2 years.
I'll
So
be
much
back.
going on.
Just make the invite as
All
long
right.
as I don't have a conflict. I'll be here.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
James Evans, everybody. Mr. Busy. We appreciate him coming on. Before we get to our great friends from Keep Lee County Beautiful, so many things going on with Keep Lee County Beautiful. I need to tell you about a couple of our sponsors, because if you're rebuilding your house, you want paint on your house that doesn't peel. You want paint on your house that isn't shit paint. You want good, strong paint. As a matter of fact, Tony was at our house this past weekend because the paint is guaranteed for life. So he came out. How are you guys doing? Where are you guys from? Buffalo, New York. It's snowing right now in Buffalo, New York. Welcome to Fort Myers Beach. Are you going to the pool? Yeah, the best pool right there. I bet you guys thought I lost my place, but I didn't. Tony Bone Painting, everybody. He's been in business since 1994. That's the year Kim was born. And they come from a family of painters. His father and uncle and his cousins were all painters. And here's somebody that you can trust. You don't want to hire somebody that 6 months from now or 6 years from now, they're going to be gone. They're going to hide somewhere where you can never get your warranty taken care of, or you can't talk to a human. You're talking to somebody from the Philippines when you call the number, and nothing against the Philippines. I'm just saying you want to be able to call Tony and have him answer the phone and come over and say, this paint needs to be repainted. He does pressure washing, trim carpentry, floor coatings, paver sealing, drywall repairs. And just so you know, he's the same Tony Bone that painted the wavy wall here in Times Square. So you all know him well. Give him a call right now. He's sitting in his van, that big ugly white thing, 239-410-7083. 239-410-7083 or bonepainting239@gmail.com. If you're looking to buy or sell something on Fort Myers Beach, God knows there's property for sale and property to be bought all over the beach, this beautiful 7 Mile Island. Now is your time to call Alex King, one of our sponsors, Alex King. You see Alex in his Crocs doing these goofy videos all over Fort Myers Beach, but the guy knows his stuff. He can walk up and down every street on Fort Myers Beach and know exactly what's going on with each house. Give Alex King a call if you want to sell or buy on Fort Myers Beach. Now's the time, because there's plenty of property for you to purchase and live in paradise. Who doesn't want to live in paradise? 239-849-3663. 239-849-3663. Where'd my co-host go? Oh, did she have to go to the restroom? Ladies and gentlemen, our friends from Keep Lee County Beautiful. Come on down, Trish and Tish. Trish and Tish. Keep Lee County Beautiful. Another organization that we love to support. We love being part of all the events that they do. You guys are going to be on number 3. Oop, we got to move that one out of here. Make sure you're on the camera. You might need to scooch over a little bit. We might need to move your chair. Where'd you go, wife? I see. Come on. We got to move them in the camera, dear. Get them on over here. You were,
Turn the camera a little bit.
yeah. Where's Bob when you need him? Last time we saw you.
No, we're fine.
good. We're good. We're
fine.
all in the camera. Last time we saw
You
you
need to move over.
guys, we were at playing golf.
Yes.
So that was
at Top Golf.
a Top Golf.
Oh, where
yeah.
you whiffed.
Yeah, that was a fun event though.
I
Yeah.
Bob have
was
that
there. You
video.
guys
I'm
were there.
never getting rid of that video. It was.
I'm not a
perfect.
golfer, dear.
Clearly.
I'm not a golfer.
Well, you have
Clearly.
almost a year to practice for the next one.
I know. We're happy to say that we're going to be the main sponsor for that event also. And so we're going to be inviting you back again, Bob. If you're going to make sure you're going to be around, I'll send you guys the date. So
Get your shoulder ready.
it's a great event to have like corporate sponsors come and kind of take care of their customers, right?
Yeah, their customers. We had another group that was their team. It was kind of a team building, thank you, appreciation for us getting through the hard season, event. So it's in February 20th, 2025. Yes, thank you so much for being our title sponsor again this year. But yeah, it's a great way to get your clients out, to get your customers out, or to get your team out, just to have a fun evening while doing good.
Yep. It was a lot of fun. And so let's back up a little bit. You guys were hammered by the storm just like everybody else.
Yeah, we lost our office. We actually didn't lose our office in the storm. We lost it in the storm the week after. Our roof was damaged so bad the week after that storm rained so much that the roof collapsed. So we lost our office. We were homeless for about 9 months, but we still managed to get things done. It was just stuff was in Tish's garage, my garage, our staff's garages, our board members' garages. It was kind of all over the county, and we were able to get stuff done, thankfully. So yeah, it was, but it's been good. We've learned a lot, and we're better prepared for anything that's going to come our way in the future. So,
And are you relocated now? Are you all set now, or?
Yep. You know what?
I've been
My
there.
mom has always said everything happens for a reason. Sometimes it's really hard to see that reason, but we are now in a better office space where we have a little bit more room to grow. We've had more donations. Thank you to Beach Talk Radio for our supplies, and we now have more room to put them. So yeah, we're off of Colonial, right behind Miller's Ale House, and we have a beautiful space now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a need for any supplies right now that we can get away?
We were very blessed this spring from multiple different organizations. I would say the biggest number one item we need right now is work gloves, because we're still doing cleanups. We've been doing cleanups for 35 years. We will continue to do cleanups for as long as they are needed. But we're in this phase of trying to transition with the county into recovery. So we're doing more plantings, trying to rebuild the tree canopy in our community, trying to restore our beach stabilization with sea oats and mangroves and sea grapes. So we're raising funds and materials for that. So like work gloves, not
So
latex gloves.
you mean those thick
The
gray
heavy
work
ones,
gloves?
yeah.
Like,
When you're
okay.
digging, you're either
All
pulling
right.
out exotics so those are our biggest need right now.
Okie
Not
dokie.
like the rubbery ones, but the
I know what they
actual
mean,
material
because I
ones.
used to
Yeah.
work with those gloves on back when I was working in the
Please.
steel mill. And
You'll
New
be
York
out there with
City.
a baseball glove trying to
No.
do stuff.
so you guys also have a big event coming up on July 5th.
Do you want to talk about it? Or?
Our 5th of July beach cleanup. So this year we're going to have it at 2 locations right here on Fort Myers Beach. Check-in's going to be at Lynn Hall.
Yes.
Yes, at Lynn Hall, 8:00.
Are we full yet?
No, there's still spots available.
Oh, come on, people. What's wrong with you?
So if
I don't
people
like it when
want to
there's
do
spots
that,
open.
though, they don't need to worry about bringing stuff. You'll have stuff.
Right, we have all the supplies.
All you need to do is just show up. I mean, I would
You need
love
to
to show
register
up,
first, though.
but I will be on a plane.
Yeah.
So.
You need to register because you
Right.
have a certain amount of spots.
We have a certain amount of parking passes.
I
We will
see.
give people parking
I
passes so
see.
they don't have to pay for parking during the event. And of course, we have a certain amount of litter sticks and all that good stuff. People can come and join us. They just may not get the supplies.
Or if they're on the beach, they can walk down
Of
and just
course.
be part of it.
Yeah. They
And,
could bring a bag, their own
Yeah.
bag,
Of
and
course.
just clean it up.
and part of the July 5th, did you do it last year? I don't think. Did you do it last year?
Yeah.
Was there fireworks?
No, there was
No.
no fireworks
Okay.
last year.
So part of the cleanup is the fireworks that kind of fall down onto the beach, and you guys are right on top of it the next morning.
Well, going back to the turtles, it's so important that we
Yes.
get them off as super fast as we can. And I have to say, the town, works guys do a really good job, but
Yes.
there's only a couple of them.
Yeah.
So we got to get out there and do what we can. And it's not only the fireworks that fall back, but the little ones that stay on the ground and just explode into 8,000 pieces.
And it's the jackasses that leave their beer bottles from the night before that you're picking up for the most part, right?
It
Or
is.
food
It's that, and
packages.
it's really sad as we even see them putting them in a Publix bag or a garbage bag, but
And
then
leaving
they
them.
still just leave
Yeah.
the bag.
Right.
That qualifies as dumbassery in my
Yes.
book. Like, why, if
Just
you're putting
pick
it
it
in the
up
bag,
and
why
take
can't
it.
just, I mean, even if the garbage pail is full on Times Square, just put it next to them. They'll
Right.
pick it up the next day.
Exactly.
So, and fill in the holes if you can the next morning, because there'll probably be a lot of holes from people there's going to be a lot of people on the beach July 4th.
Just the
Right. So how did Keep Lee County Beautiful get started?
We were actually a pet project of the county commission back in the late 80s
Wow.
for the purpose of bringing recycling to our county and also dealing with the litter problem. So there were some commissioners back then who realized that there was a problem that needed to be addressed. So they created the Clean Green Commission in 89 and then became affiliated with Keep America Beautiful in 91. And we've been here since. And I'm proud to say I've been with them for 20 years, just over 20 years.
Wow.
And what I'm proud of is we're able to adapt so quickly. We'll go back to the COVID era where the whole world shut down. We shut down for 1 month and then we figured out how to make things work. We staggered people's check-ins. We made sure they were far apart on the beach so they weren't getting next to each other. We handed out masks because that was the thing you did at that time. But we were only shut down for 1 month and we continued on, and we will continue to do whatever is needed in the county to make it better.
Because back then it was even more important to get outside. It was like the only thing people could do. But when you go outside, leave no trace. Pick your crap up. Just pick it up and take it with you, or take it to the garbage. I don't want to see any baby diapers. I've seen that on the beach. Like, what are you thinking?
You know, when I stopped,
Pick it up.
you know, when the litter thing really grasped me to never litter, when I saw Smokey Bear crying when there were,
Well,
was
that's
that the
like-
fire thing? Or was
yeah.
that well, he cried for many things, but I remember the litter.
I'm crying for you
Crying.
right now.
It was the Crying Indian.
Oh, it's the Indian. That's right.
yes.
He
What was
came
the
out in
Indian's name?
71.
What was that Indian's name?
Iron Eyes
Oh.
Cody.
Wow, you
Iron
are
Eyes
on it.
Cody.
So anyone can start a 501c3. It's not easy, but anyone can start a 501c3. But it's the people that run the 501c3s that get, like, I'm attached to you guys because of you guys. I want to help because you're so friendly and you're on top of things, and you know, if you need something, you ask for it. And that, I mean, that's what I think makes Keep Lee County Beautiful a great organization. It's you two and your group of people that make people want to help, like by the dozens or the hundreds. When you have an event, this 4th or 5th of July thing there won't be any spots left by the time the minute you announce it, they fill up.
And I attribute that because we have a great community. So those who don't know, we have a staff of 3.5. We have one part-time education person. We have a programs person. Tisha is our communications, and then myself. But we all live here. This is our home. So we're very passionate about it. But we can't accomplish anything without the supporters, such as yourselves, the sponsors, such as yourselves, but then the volunteers. And we're so proud. They come.
Yes.
I've actually had events where I've partnered with other organizations, and they were like, can you please send me the link for registration first? Otherwise, my team's not going to get in.
Right.
And I'm so excited about that. Like we send it out. And when I go to a national conference, it's the biggest question. How do you get volunteers? And I'm like, how do you not?
Right.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's the community. We have such a great community who have answered all of our calls always.
Yeah.
Now, do you have volunteers that are just there for the day, or do you also have volunteers that are repeat kind of on your roster?
Oh, yeah.
We have ambassadors
Okay.
who, like when we do tabling events, booth events, that's usually an ambassador who's going out. They've been through training and they talk about who we are, what we do. Others, we have one-offs. We have a lot of people who just volunteer with us when they're here
Right.
for a month, and they just want to do something good while they're here. So we have a lot of one-offs. We have people who've been volunteering with us for the whole 20 years that I've been here. And then we have some that are on a more regular basis where we email them and say, hey, can you cover this for us? Because, you know, for example, we have the coastal cleanup coming up in September, And we'll probably have about 20 different locations that day. And again, we have 4 staff members. So we rely on volunteers, other foundation members, and our ambassadors to run those sites for us.
And is that September 21st?
It is September
Okay.
21st.
So folks, get your bags
Yeah.
ready.
So I don't want to interrupt you if you.
No, the other thing when it's finished with the 5th of July cleanup, it's also, we are going to have a location at Bungee Beach. So
Okay.
we're going to have 2 locations this year. And everyone can come. It's best if you register. And I wanted to say you can just do that right from our Facebook page or our website is where you can register.
Yeah, we have on our page, if it's easier for you guys, there is a story on our page which will get you
Yes.
to their page where you can register. So where else are you doing cleanups? I mean, some of us are just tunnel visioned on Fort Myers Beach, but where else do you do events like this? Where upcoming events that you have planned?
We cover all 1,212 square miles of Lake County.
That's it. I mean, come on.
Yes.
Widen your
Well,
horizons for crying
well,
out
With
loud.
just 4 people? Come
Come
on,
on.
you can do it.
Actually, that's not even
Please.
true. We've partnered in Charlotte. We've partnered in Collier. And there's no affiliate in Hendry, so we've helped them in Hendry.
Nice.
We don't officially run those sites. We just help with those sites.
So the thing that when people show up to an event, you're organized. Like everything is laid out. You're organized and you're pleasant and you're happy and everybody knows what's going on. And that's what makes it seamless when you show up, because you helped us with a couple of our events that we had 100 years, feels like 100 years ago, back after the storm when we were doing things, but totally organized. Like you've done this a few times.
A few. We do somewhere between 400 and 500 a year. And so, yeah, we've done it just a couple of times.
Now,
I'm leaning away from you because
I
A, I
know,
don't want
I'm
to
in
be
the
the
sun.
and
You
B,
put me in the sun somehow.
I
You're trying to
know.
get back at me. I'm
That's
totally
right.
toasting right
yes,
now.
because
but
I wanted to protect the guest because
Yes.
you always
I'm
have
trying
it
to
the other
protect-
way.
Protect the computer so we don't get blasted off. How many pair of gloves can I get you before Monday? What is the total you need? Because if I don't have a goal, we need a goal.
I would love 500 pairs of gloves.
Holy shit, that's a
Yeah.
lot. Okay.
Well, you have to consider we use
That's a
about
big goal.
we use about
Yeah.
5,000 volunteers a
Per
year.
year.
Wow.
I'm gonna put
We go
together.
through
I'm
a
gonna
lot of
put out
stuff.
they can be shipped right to your location,
Mhm,
right?
absolutely.
Okay, so we'll put together a wish list on Amazon today where we try and hit a goal of 500 pair of gloves by Monday.
Or Home Depot.
No, we got to do it this way.
All right.
Stop! Don't get involved here.
All right.
You just stick to your camping and let me do the fundraising.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to push you off your seat in a minute.
How else can people get involved and keep Lee County beautiful? Volunteers, ambassadors, how?
Well, the big thing we were just talking about was the coastal cleanup on the 21st. So that one is the community-wide cleanups that we have, where we're going to be at 15, 20 different locations all across the county. So we need site captains for that.
Mhm.
How do you become a site captain?
They can find out anything from our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Okay.
the best way people, and if they can find out anything from our Facebook page or our website, how to sign up as a site captain, how to sign up as a volunteer, what dates are coming up. But there are other opportunities as well. We're always looking for good board members. We're always looking for new ambassadors. We do training every single month. And to bring us ideas. We
Yeah.
can't be in all 1,212 square miles, so we don't always know.
Ideas
This
win.
area
Could
needs
use a
some
little
love.
shush. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. We didn't know that.
How many board members do you have? Who's on the board?
We have a lot of great companies on the board right now. We have 15.
15. Wow.
All of the waste haulers in our community are represented.
Right.
Coca-Cola is represented. Why am I going to forget people now?
No, don't worry about
Well,
it.
just a lot. There's a
Yeah.
lot.
We do.
I
We
didn't
have
know
a-
there was 15. That's great.
Yeah, we can have
And
15
where
to
does-
23.
So where does the funding come from? How can people help with the funding? Is it funded by just donations?
Most of it. We get most of the municipalities support us because they want us to do cleanups in their municipality. So we do get some funding from the town of Fort Myers Beach, from the city of Fort Myers, Cape Coral. The county also give us a stipend to do educational programming and cleanups. And then this year we made it into the budget for the state.
Nice.
That makes all of that together makes up less than 50% of our funding. The rest comes from sponsorships for our fundraising events
Okay.
and sponsors of our events and donations. We are more than 50% funded by donors.
businesses and
businesses,
individuals. So if somebody wanted to sponsor the golf event, do you have it all sold out yet?
No, it is not. So we just now are starting to really put it out there.
Okay. How do they contact you to buy a sponsorship for the Top Golf event, which by the way, folks, is awesome. You should buy a sponsorship for that. It's very affordable for a great event for your customers.
It's again on our website and I believe on the Facebook page.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Just Google Keep Lee County Beautiful. It'll all come up.
klcb.org. But the other thing I want to say how people can help other than physically getting out there, because we try to keep in mind all abilities. And not everyone can go out there and clean the beach. That's just not going to happen. Right. How can they help? Like, comment, share our posts, educational posts about how to be aware, how to keep your community clean and better. So it literally is anybody can support the organization, even if you physically are not able to.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
I already have my answer.
Okay.
I want to be a whale shark.
A whale shark.
Yeah.
Interesting. But is that because you can rule the ocean?
Pretty much.
Can a whale shark rule the ocean?
Really, their only predator is the great white.
Yes.
And I mean,
how do you dodge the great white when it's coming at you?
I studied sharks in school, so I'm not afraid
I
of
did
sharks.
too. I used to fish for sharks when I was younger.
Put it on your nose, right on their nose.
Yeah, exactly. The whale shark just, bonk them on the nose. I don't know. They're peaceful. They're calm. They just live their life. Most people are excited to see them.
How long does a whale shark live?
Oh gosh, I don't know, probably 40 years.
Wow. Well,
what would you want to be?
A snook. Yeah.
A snook.
So, Tisha,
what would you want to be?
Yeah.
I'll have to get back to you on that one. Let me think.
I think I'd want to be a polar bear. We talked about that.
You had
They're-
half an hour to
I got
prepare
big
for that
struggles
question,
though
and
right
you weren't ready for it.
Anything else you guys
Next.
want to get out there?
The golf tournament.
So real quick, we have
Yes.
5th of July. We have major events happening, and then we have a lot of little events happening. But the big ones are the coastal cleanup we already talked about. But an important one is October 26th, Monofilament Madness. We need boaters. We're launching from Salty Sam's, but we need kayakers, paddleboarders, boaters.
We need to promote that more
Yeah.
for sure.
because we're going to go and actually clean the Estero Back Bay, get the stuff out of the mangroves. Exactly. But it's hard. We run into a difficult time getting people because they have to have a boat.
Yeah.
We will have some available for volunteers, but the reality is we need people who
Okay.
have
Cool.
boats.
That's the big one with boaters, kayakers, and we're partnering with Tuna Skin
Yes.
Of course.
Nice.
for that
They're
event.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
partners of Keep
Yeah.
Lee County
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And Salty
They-
Sam's Marina.
Yes.
Awesome. October 26th for that. So
Yes.
if you're a boater, please reach out. September 21st for
The
the
cleanup.
Coastal.
Great American Cleanup.
They're international coastal cleanup.
International. Oh,
Great Americans in the
international.
spring.
So what other countries are part of that?
There's over 150 countries that will all be
Wow.
doing a cleanup on that same morning.
China? Is China part of that too? Or no, probably
You know
not.
what? I'd be
Not
willing
at
to bet they
Russia?
are in media.
Well,
Physically, I don't know.
next time we have you guys on, we're going to make sure it's hotter.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be
Okay.
great.
Because it's too cool for you guys to be here today.
No
Holy
big deal,
smokes. We get everything out there. Can people make monetary donations?
Through our website as well.
All right.
And like I said, right now we're raising funds for 2 campaigns right now. Our education campaign, which is exploding with reaching out to the younger generation why they need to maintain environmental stewardship, and our green space initiative trying to rebuild our tree canopy in the county.
So on the 5th, where are you meeting? In Lynn Hall Park?
Yes.
Lynn
Okay.
Hall or Bunch Beach.
Not at Margaritaville, Sue. They're meeting at Lynn Hall Park or
Lynn Hall
Bunch
Park
Beach.
or
That's
Bunch
where,
Beach.
but go make sure you sign up online.
Yeah, go on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at Lynn Hall Park
Or
and Bunch
Facebook.
Beach, not here at Margaritaville. So
You can find it on Eventbrite as well.
awesome. Well, thank you guys for
Thank you
everything.
so
we
much.
appreciate
Thank
you
you.
guys coming on,
Thank
coming
you.
down here
Thank
and
you for
telling
your
us all about the
support.
events. Thank you guys.
Thanks for your support.
Yep. We'll see you soon and we'll see you on the 5th.
And we'll see you golfing.
All right. Yes, we'll
All
see you
right, sounds
golfing.
good.
Tish and Trish. I always get them confused. Tish and Trish from Keep Lee County Beautiful. Thank you very much for coming on. We are going to probably just, unless you wanted to talk about anything, go ahead. We thank you guys for coming and thank you for staying. It's literally 120 degrees out here. My laptop is about to blow up. Tomorrow we're going to be at Wahoo Willie's for our show with the mayor, which we haven't had in 3 weeks. Believe me, folks, we're going to talk about the Wyndham. We're going to talk about the unsafe list. We're going to talk about all that stuff that we've been writing about in the newsletter. Or you can come down. If you don't want to watch it from your air-conditioned room at home, you can come down to Wahoo Willie's and watch the show live. It goes live at 11. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.